Good morning, everyone, and welcome to our final Tuesday Talks of 2021. I'm excited about our talk today. We've always talked about Staunton being our campus. That's in our, the first couple of pages on our website, in our view book. And Staunton, Virginia really is our campus when it comes to Stuart Hall and outreach and community-based learning, and two of our community ventures together that we're really excited to talk about today. So first, I'd like to welcome Michael Robinson, our head of school.
Great, thank you, Robin, and welcome everyone. As Robin said, my name is Michael Robinson. I'm the head of school. We appreciate you being with us today. Stuart Hall, since 1844, has been a meaningful part of the Shenandoah Valley and of Staunton. We've been preparing young people for engaged lives of intellectual curiosity, creativity, and contribution, because that's our mission. And that mission guides everything that we do. We know that choosing to have a child, a student at Stuart Hall, is a commitment of a family's time and resources. We know that it is a huge trust to engage Stuart Hall as partners in a student's education and personal formation. It's a trust we take very seriously. And so we appreciate you taking time to learn more about us. From years of working with and listening to parents, we know that families are seeking an environment that will foster students' growth through meaningful, strong academic experiences that challenge them to grow academically, emotionally, and prepare them for the rigors and the challenges and the joys of college and life beyond college. Stuart Hall students are intelligent, they're well-rounded. Our academic program provides an engaging academic environment that, as today's program will seek to illustrate, extends beyond the classroom. It provides students with life balance in a community of students, families, and town who share a commitment to character development, community, academic excellence, whole child education, and solid preparation for the rigors of college. We hear from families and from colleges where Stuart Hall students matriculate that our alumni are resourceful, they're resilient, they're ethical, they're compassionate, they're citizens who make their communities better places. So clearly, I'm very proud of Stuart Hall, our students, our teachers, our staff, and our families. We hope you enjoy your time with us today, learning more about our program, and especially how Staunton and all the tremendous resources and partnerships enrich our community life and each student's life. And we hope that this is just the beginning of a long conversation and relationship with you. Now I'd like to introduce Jason Cody, who is our Dean of Students and Campus Life. Jason, off to you.
Thank you, Michael, and thank you to everybody for joining us today and taking the time to learn a little bit more about the many different ways that we use our hometown of Staunton with all aspects of our school program. I want to touch on two things today, starting with some items on community-based learning, which is part of our academics, but it also extends far beyond our academics. Starting with the academic piece. We really have adopted place-based education as an aspect of our curriculum throughout our middle and upper schools. Place-based education means that your learning is tied to your surroundings, that you're drawing either concrete physical inspiration for your learning from going out and exploring, or that you're connecting to local resources to help students deepen or extend or apply their learning. We've done that in a variety of ways over the years. Our AP statistics students have conducted surveys and gathered and analyzed data for the Woodrow Wilson Memorial Library. Woodrow Wilson was born and grew up here. Our biology class and environmental science classes will go out to local creeks and local lakes and gather water samples for testing and analysis in the lab. They might also do observations of local migratory patterns, for example. And even moving out of the classroom, pardon me, we have an afternoon activity for our middle school students called Mini Economy. Students come together, they form their own country, create their own currency, create their own government structure, constitution, and then begin developing products and to run the country, as it were. And they learn a lot along the way. And this culminates in April with a trip to James Madison University, about half an hour north of us, where students attend, along with other students in the region, the Global Entrepreneurship Marketplace, and they try to sell their products and gain a lot from that experience. In the early stages of that, our students are able to take great advantage of the resources in Staunton. In their first week, they went down to meet the city manager at City Hall to learn about city government as a form of government, to help them thinking about their own government structure for their country. In future weeks, they'll be visiting with local business owners, with tourism department, with people who run manufacturing shops, and a variety of other organizations, to really help them learn on a firsthand basis. And by visiting those sites, not having guest speakers come in, exactly what it means and how they can really draw from this experience to develop the best possible products and refine how they work together as a country for the time that they are working together. In all of these ways, and in so many others, it really is about authentic learning. It really is about having that hands-on experience. It is really important to understand things at a theoretical level. It is really important to sit and write, to sit and argue, to sit and think about concepts and solve problems and conduct labs. But it is also really important to see how those things manifest in the world around us. And there's so many opportunities in Staunton for that to happen, that it's really become a tremendous resource and something that our students look forward to quite a bit throughout the year. And as a result, we're able to use all these different place-based opportunities in and throughout Staunton, because we do view Staunton as our campus, as a platform for pursuing so many of our different graduate goals, whether it's about citizenship or whether it's about communication or collaboration, even well-being. So many ways that we can explore local resources and use them to really extend and expand the entire educational experience for Stuart Hall students in a way that honestly I think is pretty unique, which leads me into our second slide here, which is a little bit about safety on and off campus, but it's really about so much more than that. It's about Staunton, the town itself. I've named all the ways that it's a great resource for learning. It's a great resource for students in a variety of contexts. It's also just a great place to be. Staunton very much is the quintessential small town. Main Street and side streets lined with shops, coffee shops, bookstores, restaurants, a variety of other stores. A weekend farmers market every weekend from early spring through December. A main street that gets closed down on the weekends so that it's more friendly to pedestrians, and also gets closed down for special events throughout the year. The most popular of which is Queen City Mischief and Magic, which when we're able to have it in person, draws thousands of visitors to Staunton who are fans of Harry Potter and related topics, and they engage in a fun weekend of activities, all based right here in Staunton. It's entirely walkable. There are two parks within a mile of campus, one of which very easily walkable to students. It's even used by our cross-country team for some of their practices. So it really, really, really is a unique setting, and that true small town environment that so many people kind of imagine as a great place to grow up. It is, and the students who come here day and boarding really do love it. We do, of course, do some things to make sure that our students are safe and are cared for. Our day and boarding students are permitted to go off campus outside of the school day. For day students, that's about having parent permission, either general parent permission to do it, or we may be calling parents to say, your child would like to walk with some friends downtown for ice cream this afternoon. But we're doing these checks along the way. Same thing with our boarding students, that parents either giving permission on a blanket basis to say, yes, my child may walk into town, or they sign off on it on a case-by-case basis, depending on their comfort level. Generally, even families that start off reserving that right, usually within a few months, give blanket permission once they come to see just how much their children do enjoy going into town and just how easy and safe it really is. We do take some simple steps. Nobody walks into town alone. Buddy systems, no matter how safe a town is or where you're going, buddy system is never a bad thing. And then students also know how to quickly contact people. And one of the real upsides of it being a small town is a lot of the business owners and shops in town know us. They know our students. One of our teachers actually is also a small business owner. And that means that if students need help, a thunderstorm, for example, and they need to take shelter for a few minutes while they're out in town, they can step into a store and whoever it is will very gladly welcome them and help them stay warm and dry until the storm passes. During weekdays, our students are often busy in the afternoons, up until 5:30 or so with afternoon activities. On afternoons when they're not free, and then even after that, up until 6:30, students can sign out to walk into town. Again, that is that buddy system process, and it's a process managed with a software platform that parents have access to as well, and that all faculty and staff do, that ensures that students have permission and that we know where they are. And they have to see an adult to check out when they leave campus, and they see an adult when they come back in. On the weekends, it's the same. They can head into town. They have to come back, and our general guidelines are on weeknights. They come back by 6:30 so that they can grab some dinner here, be seen, and get ready for study hall. On the weekends, our guideline is that they can go into town for up to 3 hours at a time. What a number of students will do is go for 3 hours, come back, check in, and then check right back out and go into town for another 3 hours. It gives us peace of mind because we're seeing them, we know that they're safe and they're okay. And if we have to pass any messages along, a change in the weekend schedule or anything like that, it gives us the opportunity to do it. But beyond that, for students, they love going into town. The number of students who will say, all right, then let's grab our books, let's grab our laptops and head down to the coffee shop. And then they will just spend hours there talking and working and just enjoying a beautiful afternoon. So, and that in so many other ways, Staunton really is a great place to have a school and to be a student. I have 3 children here myself, and all 3 of them love the resources that Staunton has provided for them. And the way that we're able to tie our learning and all aspects of our school life into the town really does make a Stuart Hall experience a unique experience. Thank you very much for taking the time. It was a pleasure to share this with you all.
Thank you, Jason. We certainly appreciate it. And it truly is a great town. And I think having that freedom really is coincides with our graduate goals of being ready for college. And so I encourage anyone who has not visited Staunton to do so. I'd like to now talk to you and turn over the program to Jeremy West. Jeremy is the Artistic Director of Silverline Theater Exchange, and he is the Theater Exchange is one of our programs that we have in conjunction for our students and the community program. So I'd like to welcome Jeremy.
Hello, thank you. Thank you for having me this morning. Yeah, Silverline is is a conservatory here in town. We pride ourselves on the fact that we're offering really great quality classes. And there are a lot of working actors in this, or working artists in general in this town. And that's one of the things that we want to do is provide another opportunity for those artists who live in this beautiful small town who've decided to, make a life here as opposed to going off to, DC or New York and follow that tradition. That you can have a working life as a professional artist in a small town such as Staunton, and we have a plethora of them. So part of what we are trying to do with Silverline is bring extra work and opportunity for those working professionals, but specifically to work with these young people. Our mission at Silverline is to provide that education and opportunity for young people. We have classes for grades 2 through 12, and we want to build a diverse and inclusive community that is conscious and compassionate. We teach classes, we read plays, we perform, we discuss theater that we think invigorates, celebrates, and enhances the understanding of ourselves and others through this shared theater experience. We have a studio on Beverly Street, down on the main street right now, excuse me, which is a block and a half away from the Easton Center, which is a extension of the campus for Stuart Hall. And we actually have a new building that we're going to be moving into soon. So we have a large warehouse that we're fitting out to be a performance space, which is actually even closer to the main campus. It's literally a 3-minute walk. So once we get that completed, and we're expected to move into that in February, I believe is our target date right now, which means that by the time we get to the latter half of this school year, students will be able to literally walk 3 minutes from their main campus and be in our facilities and working with local professional actors and musicians to take their classes. We also offer classes in the evening time, which we have a partnership with Stuart Hall. So certain classes are offered during the daytime only for Stuart Hall students, but we also have evening classes that we offer. Those classes are available to Stuart Hall students as well. So if they wanted to take something extra, if they wanted to add on to what they're doing, then we have those evening classes. And we have scholarships available because we really want to not be so exclusive in a financial sense that people can't participate. We're aware that especially students who are here in Stuart Hall, they're already paying a tuition, and so we want to make this something that is affordable and possible for all students. So we have our scholarship program that's available for that, and we're also working on building a program which will become an opportunity for those students who really know, I want to study theater in college and beyond. I want to really go into that professional level of work. We have a program that we're creating which will be a track for those students, sort of like having a major in college, where you'll get that extra attention and focus that will help you with that. And so we have this wonderful culture that we work very hard to maintain, which is that everyone is welcome. You don't have to be the best actor in the world or the best stage manager in the world. You don't have to have any interest in going into theater beyond high school at all to participate and to be a part of the community. And we're very we work very hard to make sure that everyone feels welcome and included. But if you do want that extra level of attention and work to be, as a college preparatory school that we are, to push into majoring in college or becoming a professional beyond, then we have other programs which will allow you that extra attention or that extra focus to get the training you need for that, while still being able to just take some fun classes with your friends and be a part of a community, do some shows, because we believe that the things that we learn in the theater, the skills that we learn in the theater, are skills that are applicable to any job that you may run into. I think they're even beyond your profession. They're skills that we need as human beings. They teach us compassion and empathy for other people, having to study a character and think about how does this character operate in this play? Why does he or she say and do the things that they do? And through that understanding of even a fictional character, it gives you a kind of insight into thinking about, well, how do other people do things? And even a self-reflective, why do I do these things? You may have that argument with your friend and you say, why did I do that? Why did I have that? Why did I get so upset about X, Y, Z? And so it gives you the tools and the skills to actually deconstruct something in your own life, because you're doing it with fictional characters in the play all the time. You're quite literally actually walking in someone else's shoes when you put on a costume and you pretend to be someone else for a couple of hours on stage. And so it's a really great opportunity for kids to get those social skills, to build some confidence, to have some empathy, to practice their public speaking skills. I could go on and on. The theater program that we have developed for our partnership with Stuart Hall very specifically is intended to offer those skills that the mission of Stuart Hall is providing, that they, and all of the graduate goals that they are teaching to, we want to make sure that we are answering to that as well. and that in addition to that, we have the actor training for those who want to do it for college and beyond.
Jeremy, thank you. I think it's great. And I have a couple things to add. First of all, I would have been much more engaged in high school if I would have had theater classes with someone like you and at Silverline. So I think it's a great opportunity. And I also think you hit on something. I was talking to a former president of a university in Florida, and we were in a meeting, and someone asked him what class he should have taken in college that he didn't. And he actually said theater, because it helps with so many things in life that we really don't see until someone shows us. Like speaking, one of those. So you really hit on that. So thank you so much. And thank you for your partnership with Stuart Hall. We really
And I'd like to jump in for a minute too. As a parent of 3 students that Jeremy has taught theater to, I just have to say what a difference it's made in their lives. All of my children are inherently shy and introverts. And it's just been amazing how outgoing they became through Jeremy's classes over the years, to the point that when my oldest daughter got married this summer, my youngest daughter, who's a senior this year and taking pretty much everything Jeremy has to offer, including his evening Christmas piano class, she was just, when she gave her toast as the maid of honor, it was just amazing. You would think she was the most extroverted, stand-up comedian on the planet, and it was amazing. So thank you, Jeremy, for everything that you've done for my kids.
Absolutely.
And the ability, I've seen 2 of my kids on the stage at Blackfriars American Shakespeare Theater, thanks to Jeremy and his partnerships with them. So thank you, Silverline. Thank you, Jeremy.
Yes. Thank you.
Thanks, Carrie. I always like hearing from a parent that it solidifies what we believe, but it is truly a great testimony to our program. I would now like to introduce Ben Rowe. Ben is the president and CEO of the Heifetz International Music Institute, and they formed a partnership with us. He and Michael have been met for a couple of years, and it's started this year, and we're really excited about it. So Ben, I'll turn it over to you, and I'll go ahead and show your slides as well.
Okay, thanks very much, Robin. And actually, before I sort of dig into Crescendo, I just wanted to echo a little bit both of what Jason mentioned, and especially Jeremy. I just have to say, Jeremy, you talked about this little community of Staunton and the number of artists that are here. Those are, of course, theatrical artists, but there's also a lot of musicians. There are a lot of visual artists. This has been an area where there's been, because of the beauty of this area, you see plein air painters all the time, out and about. It's really something that makes this place so special. The other night, I was coming back and over the weekend and seeing all these people lined up outside this warehouse with this little sign that was the Silverline Theater Exchange at their new building, and thinking, wow, how cool is that? This is like living in, going around a corner in DC or in Baltimore, and there's a little theater company that's operating. So good on you. And in many ways, I think so much about this community that is what became a magnet for the Heifetz Institute to come to Staunton 8 years ago. Actually, it's going to be 10 years next year. It'll be our 10th year in Staunton. But just to elaborate a little bit on what Jason said, we have 4 coffee shops in downtown Staunton. None of them are named Starbucks. I tell people this, and it just amazes them. We have 4 shops that sell vinyl. Now, how many places with a population of 20,000 have even one that sells vinyl? And one of those happens to be our Heifetz Music Shop, which is a little further down the street from the Eastham Center, but close enough so that over the course of the summer, we, of course, enjoyed a wonderful partnership with Stuart Hall, where our students were actually using the Eastham Center building, which we turned for 6 weeks into a conservatory. And really was a wonderful venue. And of course, with all of its high technology, able to work with our hybrid students who were studying online, as well as those of us who were all there gathered in person in Staunton. So anyway, Staunton is a wonderful kind of artistic community. I hope that we at the Heifetz Institute contribute to that, because For those of you that don't know it, we are a program that teaches at a very high level violin, viola, cello, double bass, basically a string program, where we accept students between the ages of 9, actually, all the way up to 30. And that's kind of something that is similar to maybe a festival you've heard of, like Aspen or Tanglewood or Spoleto or Ravinia. But there's an important difference, which I think is a very exciting component for our partnership with Stuart Hall, which is that we specialize in something called communication training. All of the students that come to the Heifetz Institute are extremely advanced players. This is not like a summer camp where you come and you get a chance to play your fiddle and then do archery and then do swimming and then do tennis. This is for people who have probably played their instruments for at least a decade, and are studying with some of the world's great conservatories and their teachers, places like New England Conservatory, Juilliard, Curtis, USC, Royal Northern College in London. All of those types of places, these students gravitate here. So they're playing at an extremely high, really pre-professional level. At the same time, we are the only one in the world that has this particular module that we call communication training. And I suspect that all the discussion we've had about theater, that's actually a very important component. We're basically convinced that for you to have a career as a musician, you can't just be a good fiddler. There's lots of good fiddlers out in the world, but you have to learn how to communicate. Really, it's a whole body experience. Is how do you take those notes that are locked up inside a score and really make them alive, really make them connect with a member of the audience, with somebody in the front row and somebody in the back row. So we spend time teaching them about public speaking, about, you talked about, Carrie, about giving testimonials. I mean, we require students to actually introduce their pieces before they play them on stage. We require them to memorize their pieces. We require them to stand and not to sit with their head buried in a music stand. We give them lessons in yoga and in acting and in presentation. We have Broadway choreographers that come to help them understand about stage presence and movement. And so these are all components that go into the Heifetz kind of system. I would say that we have kind of a three-legged stool. The first one is high-level lessons and training with great conservatory teachers. The second one is this communication training, as I was discussing. And the third one is, this is not some kind of theory that we go into the laboratory with white coats and like say, maybe we'll try this. No, the proving ground is actually in the concert hall. So in the course of a 6-week module at the Heifetz Institute, in the 6 weeks, we'll do somewhere around 45 to 50 concerts. So there's pretty much a concert every day, sometimes more than once a day. So the students really get to put both the technical training as well as the communication training into practice and really kind of live it. And it really sort of doesn't happen unless it's happening in front of an audience. So we believe in that very strongly. So that's the Summer Institute. And what we've done with Stuart Hall is something that is really kind of unprecedented in the nation. There are some programs that you might have heard of, like Juilliard and Columbia have a dual degree program where you can study both at Juilliard as an undergraduate as well as at Columbia University. There's the same thing for Harvard and Tufts with New England Conservatory. So there's a few programs like that, but there are none that exist at essentially the high school level or the even middle school level, which is what we are attempting to do with Stuart Hall, so that you will no longer have to have a choice between, I really want to have a really top-notch academic education, but I'm pretty good at the viola, and I want to have a chance to really fulfill my potential as a violist. Because, of course, a lot of people that have these programs like youth orchestras, there's a prep program at Juilliard, for example, and at other major schools. But of course, there's no academic training that goes with that. What we're trying to do is in this incredible community of Staunton, where everything is in walking distance, where you can have access both to the high level, intense musical training that the Heifetz Institute offers and is renowned around the world for, and at the same time, get the type of quality education to get the same type of really close, hands-on, intimate social gathering and study that you heard Michael Robinson speak about so eloquently in the same location. This is something that I say is brand new. It is something that we think you don't have to make a choice. Our artistic director, Nicholas Kitchen, gives a great example. He's phenomenally gifted as a violinist, but also, pretty smart lad too. And when he was 16, he had the choice of either going to Duke University or going to the Curtis Institute of Music. He really kind of wanted to do both, but as a 16-year-old, there was no option for him. So what we have here with the Crescendo program, as you see on the slide here, we have got faculty coming from places like Juilliard, New England Conservatory. That's our artistic director there, who especially know how to work with people that are high school age and younger. And there are things that we offer here which really are without parallel. 2 private lessons per week, intense chamber music coaching, music theory courses in AP music theory. I mentioned our performance and communication training, the opportunity to do recitals, both as a junior and a senior, master classes, seminars, and other functions similar to what we do over the 6 weeks, but sort of extended through the academic year. And I think really this is the special sauce. Our junior faculty will be there in residence, working side by side, giving lessons, working with chamber coaching, and giving them performance opportunities with our ensembles in residence, with our touring groups, and with our other, it's a real full mentorship program, so that they'll have places to access knowledge, to access rehearsal time in a really in a setting where we know that hours are precious for people, particularly in this age cohort. And you'll have the chance now not to have to drive across town to go to your youth orchestra, to your lesson with your private teacher. It's all contained within walking distance. I should add too that we at the Heifetz Institute, we have, as I mentioned, a downtown shop. So we have supplies, or we have strings or shoulder rests or whatever things. We have access to a wonderful luthier, someone who really can repair and restring and do all the things that a high quality instrument requires. So it really is, in some ways, is a wonderful kind of full service operation that we're offering. Maybe we move to the next slide, Robin, and sort of give an idea of what a schedule would look like. We've spent a lot of time working with Stuart Hall to kind of create an interlocking program that will work very seamlessly. So in essence, those blocks of time that it may be theater, or it may be athletics, that you would have during the course of the day, you would have the chance to do work with our kind of resident ensembles, as well as some of the teaching. So if you look here, the way that with the co-curriculars are organized, a lot of that will happen during the co-curriculars, but at the same time, we'll have the chance on weekends, we'll have the chance during the days, depending on your schedule, if you're a student at Stuart Hall, what your overall class schedule looks like, because again, it's all seamless. We're all working together so that you'd have your private lesson, you'd have your chamber music study. And we're also planning things like weekend trips to Washington for Kennedy Center performances, or in Richmond to see the Richmond Symphony, or maybe a Heifetz on tour engagement. For example, we're about to do a holiday tour starting tomorrow, all over Washington and Baltimore and here in Staunton. So there'll be abundant performance opportunities, there'll be abundant study opportunities. And the beauty of it is that it will interface so beautifully with your study at Stuart Hall, so there won't be those inevitable conflicts that happen so often.
I'm going to stop my share for the moment. Ben, thank you so much. And Michael, if you want to talk a little bit about how we'll work the classes and do work the classes with our Crescendo students, and then Ben and I can talk about the admission process.
Yeah, of course. And I was looking for that right time where I could add something to both Ben and Jeremy's presentations, but those were both so wonderful, comprehensive.
They were.
And I think that speaks volumes to the extent to which these partnerships are not only logistically seamless and well organized, but there is a shared sense of how we approach teaching and learning, the pedagogy of it, that a student doesn't have the experience of having one way of approaching their learning and community life at Stuart Hall, and then they step into another environment where it's just a very different world of values and teaching approach. The student is going to feel like that both Silverline and Heifetz are extensions of Stuart Hall. It really is part of the, just one holistic experience. And Ben, I think you actually did a fantastic job talking about how that program is aligned well. Jason Cody has been working closely with your program directors really from the very beginning, so that we would be sure that as one of our planning principles is that a student is able to have the full college prep, boarding life, residential life experience, feel that he or she is fully a part of Stuart Hall's community and is able to study at that world-class high level of Heifetz, which is a really special opportunity. You use that phrase, not having to choose, to be able to be that teenager who loves to study, loves to have friends, loves to be able to think about where he or she is going to go in life, and be able to follow and dig deeply into that passion of music, or in Jeremy's and Silverline partnership, be able to extend that passion and that interest into theater and where that may take them educationally and professionally. And if anyone listening or watching right now have had the chance to hear any of our other presentations, there is a recurring theme coming up where at Stuart Hall, our approach to education, our understanding of our students is that they are at a time of their life of immense energy, interest, exploring things, a ton of curiosity and drive. And it's part of our programmatic design and desire is to provide students with as much opportunity to explore things, to try things out. And when they find something that they want to kind of take a little bit further, that we have those opportunities. And perhaps they really start getting some momentum and some drive, that there isn't a cap or a lid, but through partnerships, through the logistical barriers that we break through with these partnerships, students, in the case of Heifetz in music, in the case of Silverline with Jeremy, are able to really soar at what I would say for a high school student is an unprecedented level. Truly, the phrase "sky's the limit" is true here. And I'm actually very proud of that. And I think it is one of the great moments where Staunton is our campus, is one aspect of it is really coming to fruition in these presentations. So you might have gotten more than you bargained for there, Robin, but those were the kinds of things that I wanted to add after hearing those two really fine presentations.
No, that's great. Thank you.
If I could add something to what Benjamin was saying,
Sure.
just an example of what the Heifetz students are capable of. I've been lucky enough to have a theater student, very active theater student, from their 6th grade all the way to their current senior year at Stuart Hall. And she's an amazing musician. And just very recently, I mean, I could regale you with many stories of this particular student's brilliance, but just very recently, we did a performance at the Blackfriars Playhouse here, American Shakespeare Center, for their Christmas Share the Light program. And there was a dance and we needed some music. And we started off a comical sort of, it was early modern style dancing, you know, that you see in the movies, and then it turned into a bunch of kids at a rave. But we needed that classic sounding music at the beginning. And I said, you know, what can we do? I guess I could bring in a CD player or something. And this student said, oh, I could just bring my violin. And she picks it up and says, what do you want? Something classical sounding? And then she just starts playing something from memory, which was perfect. So we did so not only did she play this amazing music, but we did a dance to it. And then this very weekend, the event that Benjamin was referring to, that we were having at our new space, I had hired hosts from New York City to come down and run the event, and a local musician to play some music, but we needed a stand-up bass, and the only available stand-up bass player that I had was this student. And with absolutely no rehearsal, she came in on the day, a couple of hours before the actual event, and said, what key is it in? What do we need to do? Okay, oh, boom. And then she figures it out, and now she's playing stand-up bass with professionals on the weekend with an hour rehearsal. And that's a testament to what the HIFITS program can do for these musically talented children, that they operate at a professional level, even when they're in high school.
That's great. Thank you so much, Jeremy. That it just, you know, all of these things that our students are able to do with, and a lot of it within the school day is truly amazing. And you won't get it. They won't get it in another place. And parents and the students are anxious when they're running around after school trying to figure out what to do. Parents can't be parents because they're constantly driving and making sure their students have something as far as homework and food and this and that. And Stuart Hall, you don't have to worry about that. You can truly, even though they're boarding, you can go back into that parent role. And the anxiety in the students, you can tell is totally goes down, because everything is done during the school day or early evening where they don't have to get in the car and drive 20, 30 miles. So thank you. I would like to talk a little bit, and Ben, we'll just do this together, about the admission process. So the admission process to Crescendo is basically, for on the academic side, is the same admission process that anyone would have coming to Stuart Hall. We have the online application, and then we need a parent statement. There's a student statement, a recommendation from a math teacher, English teacher, and then a visit to campus. One of the things that we don't do at Stuart Hall is require standardized testing. So we are much like the colleges these days with test optional. What we do often have is a placement test. That is not a test for you to get admitted to Stuart Hall. That's a placement test to see where you would fit, mainly in the math selection. And so those are basically the components of the academic part.
Right. And if I could share my screen for just a moment here, I'm going to show you what the next part is. Okay. You can actually do these in any order. Can everybody see that?
Yes, thanks.
So this is the application portal for the Crescendo program. If you're interested in it, you can basically either make your Stuart Hall application, which will kick you over to this, or you can go fill this out first and it'll kick you over to Stuart Hall. In essence, it's an admissions process that is administered both by Stuart Hall School as well as the HIFITS Institute. And if you're familiar at all with the HIFITS Institute, because again of what we're trying to create here, the application requirements are pretty much the same. And if you visit, this is on the Get Accepted portal. We have links on both our websites to this, but if you know Get Accepted, what you do is you'll start your application here, and you're generally, we ask for some pretty basic information about who your teacher is, how long you've been playing, probably the repertory that you've been playing, either as a soloist or as a chamber musician, any honors or scholarships or awards that you've received. And most importantly, 3 video auditions. And those auditions can either be videos that you record and upload yourself to this portal, or you send us links to YouTube performances that you might have already. And so those three requirements are usually a work that shows your technical ability. And that can be a concerto, that can be a sonata, but something that really shows your technical accomplishments. And similarly, a concerto, a sonata, some small piece that shows your lyrical achievements. As I was talking before about how we are looking to really strengthen both aspects of your playing, the technical brilliance like a Paganini etude or caprice, as well as being able to play a Tchaikovsky concerto or a Beethoven sonata or something like that. And then there's the third requirement, which is common to every single student who passes through the doors of the Hyvis Institute, is that we require them to play a movement of a Bach sonata or partita or suite if you're a cellist or violist. So it could be, a 1.5-minute movement, or it could be a saraband that's 6 minutes long. But every student has to submit a solo piece by Bach. So that's basically what it comes down to. It's not terribly different than most other programs, but that is a fairly straightforward process. And of course, you can always email us here at Heifetz, either our admissions, or we actually have a special crescendo@heifetzinstitute.org email with any questions about your application.
Thank you. So I would just like to thank everybody today. I think this was very informative. I certainly think that those watching will walk away knowing that that their child, or you, if you're a student, should apply to Stuart Hall. If there are any other comments, I'll take those now. And if not,
I could jump in
okay.
as a parent, another parent comment. When jumping back to the beginning to what Jason Cody was talking about in the town, what wasn't mentioned, I don't think, was our proximity to DC and some of the historical aspects of the area. And also talking about friendships between day students and boarding students and how that helps people take advantage of our location. Over Thanksgiving, we took 2 boarding students to Washington, DC, and they got to see all of the monuments. One student was from Lithuania and one was from Vietnam, and so they both got to see things that, otherwise it's an experience to be in the United States and see these things. And these are just friendships that really, being in a small town like we have, allows kids to take advantage of local families and get a little taste of home. And it's like one big happy family. So.
Thank you.
If I could add to that a little bit, not just the cultural pieces, but also being in the Shenandoah Valley. We're right next to the Blue Ridge Mountains, the hiking and the beauty of the Skyline, Blue Ridge Trail and Skyline Drive. And just one comment, thought that comes to mind. It's possible that it could be a family, a parent, a student, or somebody who is drawn to this particular panel discussion because of Staunton as our campus, either the theater or music. So if this was your first stop, I would encourage families to also then take a look at the other Tuesday talks that talk about the co-curriculars, the extension, the academic program, and because it's really that fullness of the programming, again, for a high school student, to be able to have both these experiences that Ben and Jeremy have talked about, and to be able to see how that same opportunity to explore things, try things out, extend their learning, to take every experience they have in the classroom, to be reflective about it, to apply, to work towards increasing mastery, is evident in their academics. If they choose to do something in athletics, it's true of their residential life and their relationships and community, as well as in some of these other pursuits of music and theater. So if this was your entry into thinking and learning about Stuart Hall, please jump off and learn about the others, because you'll find that those same themes and the pedagogy of teaching and learning is going to be evident in all of those areas. And I think that's really what makes it so special.
Thank you. That I was going to end with asking folks to please look and view the other Tuesday talks that we have up on our website. So that's great. Please know that we're all here and we'll answer any questions you have. And we hope you've enjoyed either this Tuesday talk or our series of Tuesday talks. Have a great day, and we hope you'll visit Staunton and Stuart Hall.